The day started like any other in New York City. People rushed to work, taxi drivers honked their horns, and the smell of hot dogs filled the air. But everything changed when the sky turned dark at noon. At first, people thought it was just weird weather. Some even joked about it on social media. But then, huge shadows appeared above the clouds. As people looked up, their mouths fell open in shock. Massive spaceships, bigger than anything humans had ever seen, were floating above the city. The same thing was happening all over the world, from Tokyo to London, Rio to Moscow. Alien ships filled the skies. Panic spread quickly. People ran into their homes, grabbed their families, and tried to find safe places. In the White House, President Sarah Thompson sat in the Oval Office, surrounded by her top advisors. Her face was pale, but her voice was steady as she asked, "What do we know about these aliens?" General Mike Chen, a tall man with a serious face, stepped forward. "Madam President, they haven't made any moves yet, but our satellites show hundreds of ships in orbit. They have us completely surrounded." Just then, every TV, radio, and phone in the world turned on by itself. A deep, rumbling voice spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, I am Commander Zax Thor of the Galactic Armada. Your planet is now under our control. Surrender immediately, or face total destruction." The message repeated in every language on Earth. People everywhere huddled around screens, their faces filled with fear. Back in the White House, President Thompson stood up. "We need to respond. We can't just give up our planet without a fight." "But Madam President," said her chief of staff, "look at their technology. How can we possibly fight them?" President Thompson's eyes flashed with determination. "We've faced tough odds before. Humanity always finds a way. General Chen, what are our options?" Before the general could answer, another message came through. This time, it was a video. Commander Zax Thor appeared on screen. He looked almost human, but his skin was blue, and he had 4 eyes. His voice boomed. "Your silence is taken as refusal. You leave us no choice. Prepare to witness the power of the Galactic Armada. We will unleash a force upon your world that will make you beg for mercy." The video cut off. For a moment, there was silence in the Oval Office. Then, chaos erupted as advisors shouted suggestions and warnings. President Thompson raised her hand, silencing the room. "We need to warn people. Get everyone to safety if we can. And we need to show these aliens that Earth won't go down without a fight." As world leaders scrambled to respond, military bases around the globe went on high alert. Fighters' jets took to the skies, and missile systems were primed. But compared to the alien ships, Earth's defenses looked like toys. In New York, a young woman named Emma watched the alien ships from her apartment window. She was a science teacher, and part of her was excited to see real aliens. But mostly, she was terrified. What did he mean by unleash a force? She wondered out loud. She didn't have to wait long for an answer. A bright light appeared in the center of the city. It grew bigger and brighter until Emma had to shield her eyes. When she looked again, her heart nearly stopped. Standing in the middle of Times Square was a creature straight out of a nightmare. It was as tall as a skyscraper, with scaly skin, multiple arms, and a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. Its roar shook the entire city. From his ship, Commander Zax Thor watched with cold satisfaction. "The beast has been unleashed," he said to his crew. "Now we will see how brave these humans really are." As the creature began to move through the city, crushing cars and smashing buildings, a new message played across the world. "This is only the beginning. Surrender now, or watch your world fall to the beast." The first battle for Earth had begun, and humanity faced its greatest challenge yet. The giant alien creature, now known as the Beast, stomped through New York City. Its huge feet crushed cars like toys. People ran screaming as buildings shook and windows shattered. The beast's roars were so loud that they could be heard for miles. Emma, the science teacher, watched in horror from her apartment. She knew she had to get out, but fear kept her frozen. Then a loud crash made her jump. A piece of a nearby building had smashed into her living room. That was enough to get her moving. She grabbed her backpack, stuffed it with some food and water, and ran out of her apartment. The streets were chaos. People were running in all directions, not knowing where was safe. Emma decided to head towards Central Park, thinking the open space might be safer. As she ran, she saw amazing and terrifying things. A group of brave firefighters was trying to rescue people from a fallen building. A little girl was crying for her lost dog, and everywhere, the sound of the beast's footsteps got louder and louder. Meanwhile, at a military base outside the city, General Chen was preparing a counterattack. "We need to hit that thing with everything we've got," he told his team. Tanks rolled out of the base, and fighter jets took off from nearby airfields. The beast had reached Times Square when the first missiles hit it. Explosions lit up its scaly skin, but the creature barely seemed to notice. It swatted at the fighter jets like they were annoying flies. "Our weapons aren't working," a soldier shouted into his radio. General Chen gritted his teeth. They needed a new plan, and fast. Up in space, Commander Zax Thor watched the battle with cold eyes. "Pathetic," he muttered. "These humans think their primitive weapons can stop our beast." He turned to his second-in-command. "Prepare the ground troops. It's time to take this planet." Back in Central Park, Emma had found a group of people hiding in a cluster of trees. They all watched in silence as the beast moved through the city. Suddenly, Emma noticed something strange. The beast wasn't just destroying things randomly. It seemed to be searching for something. "Look," she said to the others, pointing. "It's checking inside buildings. It's like it's looking for something specific." An old man next to her nodded. "You're right. But what could a thing that big be looking for?" Before Emma could answer, a new sound filled the air. It was a high-pitched whine, getting louder by the second. Everyone looked up to see hundreds of small ships leaving the big alien vessels. The invasion was entering a new phase. These smaller ships zoomed down to the city streets. They opened up, and out came alien soldiers. They were tall and blue-skinned, just like Commander Zax Thor. They carried weird-looking guns and started to search the city, building by building. Emma's mind was racing. If both the beast and these soldiers were searching for something, it must be really important. But what could it be? Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft sound coming from nearby. At first, she thought it was a cat, but when she looked closer, she gasped. Hidden in some bushes was a small, strange-looking creature. It was clearly hurt and very scared. Emma's heart raced. This little thing didn't look like it was from Earth. Could this be what the aliens were looking for? She knew she should probably leave it alone. But something in the creature's big, scared eyes made her pause. Making a quick decision, Emma slowly approached the small alien. "It's okay," she said softly. "I won't hurt you." The creature looked at her, trembling. Emma carefully picked it up and tucked it into her jacket. It felt warm and was making a soft humming sound. Just then, a group of alien soldiers turned the corner into the park. Emma and the others ducked down, holding their breath. The soldiers looked around, then moved on. Emma looked at the small creature hidden in her jacket. She didn't know what it was or why it was so important. But she knew one thing for sure. Her life had just gotten a lot more complicated. As night fell on the terrified city, the beast's roars mixed with the sounds of alien ships and human screams. The battle for Earth was just beginning, and Emma found herself right in the middle of it, with a very unexpected new friend. The night was long and scary. Emma stayed hidden in Central Park, with the small alien creature tucked safely in her jacket. She could hear the beast's roars and the sound of alien ships flying overhead. It was hard to sleep, but somehow she managed to doze off for a few hours. When morning came, Emma looked at the little alien. In the daylight, she could see it better. It was about the size of a puppy, with soft blue fur and big dark eyes. It looked scared and hurt. Emma's heart filled with pity. "Don't worry, little one," she whispered. "I'll call you Pup. I'll take care of you." Pup made a soft chirping sound and snuggled closer to Emma. She smiled, feeling a bit better despite the chaos around them. Emma knew she had to find a safe place. The park wasn't good for long. She decided to try to reach her school. It had a basement where they might be able to hide. As they left the park, Emma gasped. The city looked terrible. Buildings were damaged, cars were crushed, and there was no one on the streets. She could see alien soldiers in the distance, still searching. Emma walked carefully, always ready to hide. Pup was quiet, as if it knew they had to be silent. As they turned a corner, Emma heard voices. She quickly ducked behind a car. "We must find the youngling," an alien soldier said. "Commander Zaxthor is getting angry." "But it could be anywhere," another replied. "This city is huge." Emma's heart raced. They were looking for Pup. She held the little alien closer, promising silently to protect it. After the soldiers left, Emma and Pup continued their journey. It was slow going, always stopping to hide from alien patrols. Finally, after what felt like hours, they reached the school. The school was empty and dark. Emma found the door to the basement and went inside. It was cool and quiet there. She felt safer than she had since the invasion began. Emma set Pup down and looked around. There were some old blankets and boxes of supplies. She made a small bed for Pup and gave it some water. As she watched Pup drink, Emma noticed something strange. The little alien's fur seemed to glow softly. Suddenly, she felt a weird tingle in her head. It was like Pup was trying to talk to her. Emma sat very still and tried to focus on the feeling. Slowly, images began to form in her mind. She saw a big spaceship, a planet with 2 suns, and then the beast. But in these images, the beast wasn't scary. It looked sad and worried. With a gasp, Emma understood. "The beast. It's your parent, isn't it?" she asked Pup. "It's looking for you." Pup made a sad chirping sound, and Emma felt waves of loneliness and fear coming from it. She realized that Pup must have been left behind by accident when the aliens first visited Earth. The whole invasion was just to find this lost child. Emma's mind was spinning. If she could somehow let the aliens know that Pup was safe, maybe they would stop attacking. But how could she do that without putting Pup in danger? Just then, she heard a noise upstairs. Someone was in the school. Emma quickly picked up Pup and hid behind some boxes. She heard footsteps coming down the stairs to the basement. A flashlight beam swept across the room. Emma held her breath, hoping they wouldn't be found. The light came closer and closer. Suddenly, a voice called out, "Hello. Is anyone there? We're here to help." Emma recognized that voice. It was Dr. Chen, the school's science teacher. She had worked with him before. Should she trust him? What if he tried to take Pup away? As Emma struggled with her decision, Pup squirmed in her arms. She felt a wave of curiosity and hope from the little alien. Maybe Pup was telling her it was okay. Taking a deep breath, Emma stood up. "Dr. Chen, it's me, Emma. I'm here, and well, I have something important to show you." Dr. Chen's flashlight found Emma, and he gasped when he saw Pup. For a moment, everyone was silent. Then Dr. Chen spoke softly. "I think, Emma, that you may have just found the key to saving our world." As Pup chirped happily, Emma felt a mix of relief and worry. She had an ally now, but their task was far from over. Somehow, they had to find a way to stop a war and reunite a family. The real challenge was just beginning. Dr. Chen stared at Pup with wide eyes. "I can't believe it," he whispered. "A real alien creature, right here in our school basement." Emma nodded, holding Pup close. "Dr. Chen, there's more. I think I can communicate with it, somehow." Dr. Chen's eyebrows shot up. "Communicate? How?" Emma explained about the images and feelings she got from Pup. As she talked, Pup chirped and snuggled closer to her. Fascinating, Dr. Chen said. He looked thoughtful. Emma, may I try something? When Emma nodded, he reached out slowly and gently touched Pup's fur. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Dr. Chen gasped. I can feel it too. It's like a warm buzzing in my head. Emma smiled. I think Pup is trying to talk to us. Over the next few hours, Emma and Dr. Chen took turns talking with Pup. They learned more about the alien civilization and why they had come to Earth. So the big creature, the beast, is actually Pup's parent, Dr. Chen said, shaking his head in wonder. And this whole invasion was just to find Pup. Emma nodded. It's like a huge misunderstanding. They'd probably think we kidnapped Pup or something. Just then, they heard a loud boom outside. The building shook. Dr. Chen peeked out a small window. The beast is nearby, he said, his voice tense. It's tearing apart buildings, probably still looking for Pup. Emma hugged Pup tighter. We have to do something. We have to let them know Pup is safe. Dr. Chen nodded. But how? If we just walk out there with Pup, we might get killed before we can explain. They sat in silence for a while, thinking hard. Suddenly, Emma felt a strong emotion from Pup, excitement mixed with an idea. Wait, she said. I think Pup has a plan. Through a series of images and feelings, Pup explained. The aliens had a special way of communicating over long distances. It was like a telepathic signal that only their species could use. If we can amplify Pup's signal somehow, Emma said slowly, maybe we can reach the beast and Commander Zaxthor. Dr. Chen's eyes lit up. That's brilliant, and I think I know how we can do it. He explained that the school had a powerful radio antenna on the roof. With some modifications, they might be able to use it to boost Pup's telepathic signal. But we'll need parts, Dr. Chen said, and it's dangerous out there. Emma stood up, determination on her face. We have to try. It's our only chance to stop this invasion and save both our worlds. They made a plan. Dr. Chen would work on modifying the antenna, while Emma would sneak out to find the parts they needed. It was risky, but they had no choice. Before Emma left, she knelt down next to Pup. I'll be back soon, she promised. Stay hidden and stay safe. Pup chirped softly and sent Emma a feeling of trust and hope. Emma smiled, then quietly slipped out of the basement. The streets were a mess of rubble and abandoned cars. Emma moved carefully, always on the lookout for alien patrols or the beast. She managed to find an electronics store that wasn't too damaged and gathered the parts Dr. Chen had asked for. As she was heading back to the school, Emma heard a familiar roar. Her heart pounded as she saw the beast turning onto her street. She ducked behind a car, hardly daring to breathe. The beast stomped past, so close that Emma could have reached out and touched its scaly leg. As it passed, Emma felt a wave of sadness and desperation. The beast wasn't a monster. It was a parent looking for its lost child. When it was safe, Emma ran back to the school. She burst into the basement, out of breath but excited. I got the parts, she said, and I saw the beast up close. Dr. Chen, we have to hurry. They're so sad and scared. We need to let them know Pup is okay. Dr. Chen nodded, already starting to work with the parts Emma brought. Let's do this, he said. It's time to turn this invasion into a reunion. As they worked, Pup watched with big, hopeful eyes. The little alien seemed to understand that soon it might be able to go home. Emma felt a mix of happiness for Pup and sadness for herself. She had grown fond of the little alien, but she knew what they had to do. Outside, the sounds of destruction continued. But inside the school basement, 3 very different beings worked together, hoping to build a bridge between 2 worlds and end a war before it was too late. The school basement was a hive of activity. Dr. Chen worked fast, connecting wires and adjusting equipment. Emma helped where she could, following his instructions carefully. Pup watched them, chirping encouragement. Almost there, Dr. Chen said, wiping sweat from his forehead. We just need to connect this to the antenna on the roof. Emma nodded. I'll do it, she said bravely. I'm smaller and faster. I can sneak up there without being seen. Dr. Chen looked worried but agreed. Be careful, Emma. The aliens are everywhere. Emma picked up the device they had built. It was about the size of a lunchbox, with blinking lights and a long wire. She took a deep breath and headed for the stairs. The school was eerily quiet. Emma moved slowly, staying low and listening for any sound. She made it to the top floor without trouble, but as she reached the door to the roof, she heard voices. Alien soldiers were up there. Emma's heart raced. She couldn't turn back now. Gathering her courage, she opened the door just a crack and peeked out. 2 alien soldiers stood near the edge of the roof, looking out at the city. Emma waited, hardly breathing, until they turned their backs. Then she slipped out, staying low behind some air conditioning units. The antenna was on the far side of the roof. Emma crawled towards it, the device clutched tightly in her hands. She was almost there when she heard a shout. Intruder, human, one of the aliens yelled. Emma jumped up and ran. She reached the antenna and quickly started connecting the device. Behind her, she could hear the aliens getting closer. Just as she finished, a blue hand grabbed her shoulder. Emma spun around, face to face with an alien soldier. Its 4 eyes blinked in surprise. Wait, Emma shouted. Please, I'm trying to help. The alien hesitated, confused by her words. That moment was all Emma needed. She reached out and pressed the button on the device. A high-pitched whine filled the air. The alien soldiers covered their ears, stumbling back. Emma felt a tingling in her head, like when Pup communicated with her, but much stronger. Down in the basement, Pup's eyes widened. The little alien let out a loud, clear call. It was a sound full of love and longing, amplified by the device Emma had connected. The call echoed across the city. People and aliens alike stopped and looked up, wondering at the strange sound. But for one being, it meant everything. The beast, which had been smashing through a building nearby, suddenly froze. Its huge head turned towards the school. Then, with a roar that shook the windows, it started moving. On the roof, Emma and the alien soldiers watched in awe as the beast approached. It moved with purpose now, not destroying things, but heading straight for them. What have you done? One of the aliens asked Emma, sounding scared. Emma stood tall, even though she was shaking inside. I'm bringing the lost child back to its parent, she said. The beast reached the school. Its massive head rose up, level with the roof. Emma found herself staring into eyes the size of car tires. But they weren't angry eyes. They were filled with hope and questions. Taking a deep breath, Emma spoke to the beast. Your child is safe, she said clearly. We've been taken care of. Pup, we didn't know you were looking for it. We're sorry for the misunderstanding. For a long moment, the beast just stared at her. Then, to everyone's surprise, it made a soft, rumbling sound. It wasn't a roar, but almost like a purr. Suddenly, the air shimmered. Commander Zack Thor appeared on the roof, teleported from his ship. He looked at Emma, then at the beast, confusion clear on his face. What is happening here? He demanded. Emma turned to face him. She was scared, but she knew this was their chance to end the invasion peacefully. She straightened her back and spoke in a clear voice. Commander, she said, there's been a big mistake. Your beast, it's not a weapon. It's a parent looking for its child. The child you've been searching for is safe. We've been protecting it. Commander Zack Thor's 4 eyes widened in surprise. He looked at the beast, which made that soft, rumbling sound again. Is this true? He asked the beast. The beast nodded its massive head. Then it turned back to Emma, its eyes pleading. Emma understood. I'll bring Pup up here right away, she said. She turned to go, but then paused and looked back at Commander Zaxthor. "Please," she said softly, "no more destruction. Let's talk and sort this out." As Emma hurried back into the school, she felt a mix of hope and fear. She had done it. She had made contact. But would it be enough to stop the invasion and save both worlds? Emma's heart pounded as she raced down the stairs. She burst into the basement, out of breath. "Dr. Chen, we did it. They're listening to us now." Dr. Chen looked up, his eyes wide with hope. "Really? That's amazing, Emma." Pup chirped excitedly, sensing the change in mood. Emma scooped up the little alien, hugging it gently. "It's time, Pup. Your parent is waiting for you." As they hurried back up to the roof, Emma quickly explained what had happened. Dr. Chen listened in amazement. "You've done it, Emma," he said proudly. "You may have just saved our world." They reached the roof door. Emma took a deep breath, then pushed it open. The scene that greeted them was incredible. The beast was still there, its huge head level with the roof. Commander Zaxthor stood with the alien soldiers, all watching Emma intently. The tension in the air was thick. As soon as Pup saw the beast, it let out a happy chirp. The beast responded with a low, gentle rumble. The sound was full of love and relief. Emma stepped forward, still holding Pup. She looked at Commander Zaxthor. "Here's the child you've been searching for," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "We found it hurt and alone. We've been taking care of it." Commander Zaxthor's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. He looked at Pup, then at the beast, then back at Emma. "You protected our young one?" he asked, his voice softer than before. Emma nodded. "We didn't know you were looking for it. We thought you were invading us. It was all a big misunderstanding." The beast made another soft sound. Pup wiggled in Emma's arms, clearly wanting to go to its parent. Emma hesitated for a moment, then gently set Pup down. Everyone watched as the little alien toddled across the roof. The beast lowered its head, and Pup climbed on. The reunion was beautiful and strange at the same time. Commander Zaxthor watched this, his face showing a mix of emotions. Then he turned to Emma and Dr. Chen. "It seems we have made a grave error," he said slowly. "In our desperation to find our lost child, we caused great harm to your world." Dr. Chen stepped forward. "We understand the lengths a parent will go to for their child," he said. "But now that we know the truth, perhaps we can start over. As friends, not enemies." For a long moment, Commander Zaxthor was silent. The fate of 2 worlds hung in the balance. Then, to everyone's relief, he nodded. "Yes," he said. "I believe that would be wise." He turned and spoke into a device on his wrist. Instantly, the sounds of destruction across the city stopped. The invasion was over. Emma felt tears of relief in her eyes. She looked at the beast, now gently nuzzling Pup. "What will happen to them?" she asked. Commander Zaxthor followed her gaze. "They will return home, of course. Our search is over." Emma felt a pang of sadness. She had grown fond of Pup, but she knew this was right. "Will you leave Earth now?" she asked. The commander looked thoughtful. "Not immediately," he said. "First, we must make amends for the damage we have caused. And perhaps we can learn from each other." Dr. Chen smiled. "We would like that," he said. "There's so much we could share." As they talked, more people began to arrive on the roof. Soldiers, both human and alien, watched in amazement as their leaders spoke peacefully. News helicopters circled overhead, broadcasting the incredible scene to the world. Emma stood quietly, watching it all. She felt tired but happy. She had done something amazing today. She had helped stop a war and bring 2 worlds together. Suddenly, she felt a gentle touch on her arm. She looked up to see the beast looking at her. Its huge eyes were full of gratitude. Emma smiled and reached out, gently patting its scaly skin. "You're welcome," she said softly. "I'm glad I could help." As the sun began to set, casting a golden light over the city, Emma knew that everything had changed. The future was uncertain, but full of hope. Humans and aliens working together, who knew what they might achieve. The beast let out one last gentle rumble, as if saying goodbye. Then, with Pup safely on its back, it began to shrink. Soon, it was small enough to fit on a spaceship. The long journey home was about to begin. Emma watched them go, feeling a mix of sadness and excitement. This wasn't an end, she realized. It was a beginning. A new chapter for Earth, and for her. Whatever came next, she knew she was ready for the adventure. A week had passed since the dramatic events on the school roof. The world was still buzzing with excitement and wonder. Everywhere, people were talking about the aliens, the beast, and the brave girl who had helped save Earth. Emma sat in a big meeting room, feeling a little nervous. Around her were important people from all over the world. Presidents, scientists, and military leaders. Across the table sat Commander Zack Thor and other alien representatives. "This meeting will now begin," announced the head of the United Nations. "We are here to discuss the future relationship between Earth and the, what did you call your species again?" Commander Zack Thor stood up. "We are the Zoraks," he said in his deep voice, "and we are deeply sorry for the misunderstanding that led to our actions on your world." Emma listened as the adults talked. They discussed many things: how to repair the damage from the invasion, how to share technology, and how to make sure nothing like this ever happened again. Suddenly, Emma heard her name. "We owe a great debt to young Emma," Commander Zack Thor was saying. "Without her bravery and compassion, this peace would not have been possible." Emma felt her face turn red as everyone looked at her. But she sat up straight and smiled. She was proud of what she had done. After the meeting, Emma walked outside with Dr. Chen. The street was busy with humans and aliens working together to clean up the city. "It's amazing, isn't it?" Dr. Chen said, looking around. "A week ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. Now, look at us." Emma nodded. She saw a human construction worker laughing with the Zoraks as they lifted a fallen lamppost. Nearby, a group of children were asking an alien questions about its home planet. "I miss Pup," Emma said softly. Dr. Chen put a hand on her shoulder. "I know, but remember, you did the right thing. Pup is home now, safe with its family." Just then, Emma's phone buzzed. It was a message from Commander Zack Thor. Emma's eyes widened as she read it. "Dr. Chen," she exclaimed. "The Zoraks want to set up an exchange program. They're inviting some humans to visit their planet, and I'm on the list." Dr. Chen grinned. "That's wonderful. Emma, what an opportunity." As they walked, Emma thought about everything that had happened. She had been so scared when the invasion started, but by being brave and kind, she had made a difference. She had helped turn enemies into friends. They passed a TV store, where all the screens were showing news about the aliens. Emma saw herself in some of the footage, standing on the roof with Pup. The words under the image called her a hero and an ambassador for humanity. "Do you think we'll ever see the beast again?" Emma asked Dr. Chen. He nodded. "I'm sure we will. The Zoraks seem keen to maintain good relations with Earth. And who knows, maybe one day you'll get to visit Pup on its home planet." Emma smiled at the thought. She couldn't wait to learn more about the Zoraks, their world, and all the other amazing things that might be out there in space. As they turned a corner, Emma saw something that made her stop. A huge mural had been painted on the side of a building. It showed the beast, but not as a scary monster. Instead, it was gently cradling Pup, with Earth and an alien planet in the background. At the bottom were words in many languages. "Understanding bridges worlds." Emma felt tears in her eyes as she looked at the mural. It was beautiful, and it captured exactly what had happened. A misunderstanding had almost led to war, but understanding had brought peace. She thought about all the new things humans would learn from the Zoraks, and all the things they could teach in return. The future was full of exciting possibilities. As the sun set over the city, painting the sky in beautiful colors, Emma felt happy and hopeful. The world had changed, and she had helped change it. Whatever came next, she knew that humans and aliens working together could face any challenge. She looked up at the stars, twinkling in the darkening sky. Somewhere out there was Pup, safe and happy with its family. And maybe, just maybe, there were other alien races waiting to be discovered and befriended. Emma smiled. The greatest adventure of all was just beginning.